Hanukkah, Hanukkah, Chag yafe kol kach. Or chaviv v'saviv, v'lieled rach. Hanukkah, Hanukkah, sevivon sof sof. Sof sof sof, sof sof sof, manayim v'tov. Sevivon, sof sof sof. Hanukkah, hu chag tov. Hanukkah, hu chag tov. Sevivon, sof sof sof. Chag simcha ula'am. Nes gadol haya sham. Nes gadol haya sham. Chag simcha ula'am. Sevivon, sof sof sof. Hanukkah, hu chag tov. Hanukkah, hu chag tov. Sevivon, sof sof sof. Oh Hanukkah, festival of joy. Holiday, a jolly day for every girl and boy. Spin the whirling dreidel all week long. Eat the sizzling latkes, sing a happy song. Now right then, tonight then, the candles are burning low. One for each night, they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. One for each night, they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago.
Good evening. I'm Andrea Colby, president of Neve Shalom. On behalf of the Neve Shalom community, we welcome you all to our celebration of the first night of Hanukkah. We are so thrilled to work with our friends at Temple Emmanuel and the borough of Metuchen to share this program with you. As with every other significant event this year, this will be different from all other years. While we miss all being together in the same place at the same time here in the plaza, we are so grateful that we have a way to be together and connect with each other on this special night. And at least we can join the celebration from the comfort and warmth of our homes this year. Our deep gratitude goes out to everyone at Temple Emmanuel and at the borough of Metuchen who planned and made this event happen. Happy Hanukkah to you all. And now I'd like to turn this over to Janet Suss, president of Temple Emmanuel.
Thank you, Andrea, and welcome everybody to our third annual Metuchen Menorah lighting and our first virtual one. I'm Janet Suss, as you heard, and I'm a 29-year resident Metuchen and the current president of Temple Emmanuel, the local Reform congregation. Andrea and I are very pleased to bring you the holiday of Hanukkah into your homes tonight and hope that over the coming week you'll visit the plaza in Metuchen to see the menorah for yourself. As each night another candle is lit. We encourage you to take a picture in front of our town menorah that we acquired last year thanks to some very generous donors. You'll hear from Rabbi Gutterman in a few minutes about the story of Hanukkah and how a small group of people banded together to win a battle against a large army, and how a tiny amount of oil miraculously lasted to light the temple while it was being reconstructed. I see a lot of parallels to the pandemic and situation we find ourselves in. Metuchen is a small community, and together we are battling through the COVID-19 pandemic and supporting each other. It's truly a miracle how the lights are shining bright in our downtown this holiday season. The COVID-19 pandemic has been hard on our local businesses, and we want to encourage everyone to support them during what is normally their busiest shopping season. So Temple Emmanuel and Neve Shalom have distributed over 200 bags of chocolate coins, or gelt, and dreidels with instructions on how to play the game at various businesses around town. The first families to come into those businesses wearing masks starting tonight will get a free goodie bag until they are all gone. While you're in the store, consider purchasing a gift or other item you might need to show our store owners that the residents of Metuchen appreciate our small businesses. We hope you have a safe and happy Hanukkah. And now I'd like to introduce Mayor Jonathan Bush to share some words of welcome.
Hey Metuchen, thank you so much for joining us at this virtual presentation of our lighting on the first night of Hanukkah. And with me I have my son Robert, and hard to get the whole family together on nights like this, but it's so important, especially during times like this, to recognize what's important. You know, Hanukkah is the festival of lights, and this year in particular, it is so especially important to find light wherever we can. And so in lighting this menorah, let it be a symbol that in all of our lives we'll do our best to search for as much light as possible to try to get to that light at the end of the tunnel.
Good evening. On behalf of the Metuchen Edison Clergy Association, I'm here to bring a brief Hanukkah message to you. As a child growing up here in Metuchen, I was always aware of the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah. I had many classmates and friends that were Jewish, and the chorus in school always made sure to sing at least one Hanukkah song at the winter concert. I recall being envious of my Jewish friends because they were getting 8 presents 8 days as compared to my paltry 1 day. I hadn't bothered to think about whether we ultimately got the same number of gifts. And while in our secular consumerist culture, both Hanukkah and Christmas have gotten taken in by the marketing, there has always been a deeper meaning and story behind them. Hanukkah commemorates the miracle of the oil lasting for 8 days when there seemed to be only enough for one. It recalls a time of rededication of things that had been profaned. Public displays of menorahs such as the one which we light tonight reminds not just of the light within our own houses, but a light that shines for all of humanity. Hanukkah has been recognized by our government with celebrations at the White House since 1951, when Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion gave President Truman a menorah. In 2001, President George Bush held an official Hanukkah reception in the White House in conjunction with the candle lighting ceremony. And since then, this ceremony has become a tradition annually, attended by Jewish leaders from around the country. In 2008, President Bush linked the occasion to the 1951 gift by using that menorah for the ceremony, with the grandsons of Ben-Gurion and Harry Truman lighting the candles. In December of 2014, 2 Hanukkah celebrations were held at the White House. The White House commissioned a menorah made by students at the Max Rain School in Israel and invited 2 of the students to join President Obama and First Lady Michelle as they welcomed over 500 guests to the celebration. The Students' School of Israel had been subjected to arson by extremists. President Obama said, "These students teach us an important lesson for this time in our history. The light of hope must outlast the fires of hate." That's what the Hanukkah story teaches us. It's what our young people can teach us, that one act of faith can make a miracle, that love is stronger than hate, that peace can triumph over conflict. Rabbi Angela Warnig-Butkal, in leading prayers at that ceremony, commented at how special the scene was, asking President Obama if he believed America's founding fathers could possibly have pictured that a female Asian American rabbi would one day be at the White House leading Jewish prayers in front of an African American president. As we gather here tonight to light this menorah here in 2020, in the middle of a pandemic, we live in the light and hope that it promises. On behalf of the clergy of the Metuchen Edison Interfaith Clergy Association, we wish our brothers and sisters of the Jewish faith a blessed Hanukkah and a joyful celebration of light. And this menorah may remind all of us of the wonderful diversity of faith that makes our country and this town great.
We come to chase the dark away. In our hands are light and fire. Each individual light is small, but together the light is mighty.
Banu choshech legarish everyone. I'm Rabbi Rebecca Gutterman of Temple Emmanuel in Edison. I have been the rabbi here for almost a year and a half. That makes this my second Metuchen menorah lighting, and what I share with all of you tonight is that it is my first Metuchen menorah lighting under these circumstances. I'm really happy to be here, and I want to thank my colleagues for setting the stage so beautifully for what I will share with you now a little bit more about the story of Hanukkah and the multiple legacies that Hanukkah still holds for our time. The original story is actually that of a military victory. It has captured the collective imagination for centuries because it truly was a battle of the few against the many, and that small band of Maccabees that could have been weak, but they were not. They were strong because they derived spiritual strength from God and from the Jewish traditions that they held dear, traditions that were really sinking under the heaviness, under the tide of assimilation from the much larger countries that were surrounding Judea at the time in question. Some in the Jewish community went ahead and went with that majority, when in Rome or Judea in this case, but others held firmly to the truth, to the integrity of their identity. And ultimately, it was some of those who joined the Hasmonean priest Mattathias and Mattathias's sons in 2 years just about of guerrilla warfare, and they were able to beat back those forces of oppression. And once that had happened, returned to the temple in Jerusalem to purify it. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The other part of the Hanukkah story, the miracle of the oil, that there was only enough for one night, but it lasted for 8 nights instead, that was a later story, a later invention, as it were, on the part of the rabbis of the Talmud, who did not want to play up the militaristic victory of the original Hanukkah story. So they found a way to introduce this element of light and warmth and miraculousness, and to give us something else that would sustain us, that would sustain our communities, our homes, our families, all the way up into the present day and all the way into the future as we look ahead to a time that we know and that we really have faith will hold more light and more warmth, more equality, better health. In the words of the writer Marjorie Ingle, there is truth in every story that we tell. And so both the military victory and the spiritual victory of Hanukkah continue to warm our souls and to light our way. May we hold on to that light and embody it and truly be that light for each other. I wish each and every one of you a Hanukkah Sameach, a very happy Hanukkah. And next is my colleague from congregation Neve Shalom, and one of the reasons that I am so happy that I have relocated to this area, Rabbi Eric Rossen.
Thank you, Rabbi Gutterman, and thank you to everyone who has spoken, to everyone who helped plan this wonderful event. So as the last official speaker, I want to try to wrap up what we've heard. We're here to celebrate the miracle of Hanukkah, and this can be a choose-our-own miracle kind of adventure. We've heard that one of the miracles we're here to celebrate, to observe, to commemorate, is the way that a small force was able to defeat a larger force. When we give thanks for this each morning of Hanukkah, we thank God for allowing a small force to defeat this larger force, to in order to show that we're grateful that our power does not come from our numbers, that power doesn't come from military might. Power comes from seeking a relationship with God and seeking to bring holiness into the world. That's one miracle we can choose tonight. The other miracle that we heard about was the story about the oil that was supposed to only last for one day when they were rededicating the temple, but lasted for 8 instead. And this is the miracle of realizing that if we can look at the world not from a position of scarcity, not from thinking about what we don't have, but instead we can be generous, we can be grateful for what we do have, we can reach out to others from a place of generosity. We can spread goodwill and support and strength and security to all of those who live around us. There's another miracle, the miracle of our being able to create light in the darkest time of the year. There's a midrash in which the Israelites ask God, why do you want us to light a menorah? And God says, you're not lighting it for me. After all, I created all of the sources of light, the sun and the moon. You're creating this for you, for your own benefit, so that you know that in dark times you can bring light into the world. And then finally, there's the idea that it's the miracle that we're still here to bring this light into the world, to spread this message that power doesn't come from force, it comes from morality. And that as long as we can share from a place of generosity, even in times like we've experienced this year, we can bring light into this world. So in order to observe and celebrate and commemorate all of those holidays, I'm very happy to introduce 2 families, the Grubmans and the Chaplains, and our 2 most recent B'nai Mitzvah in this community, Avner and Aaron, and we'll invite them to light the candles of the menorah so we can celebrate all of the miracles of this season.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy Hanukkah, everyone. Enjoy, celebrate with family, and find that light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu le'adlikeh shel Hanukkah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim la'avotenu bayamim ha'em b'zman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'echianu v'kiyemanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Ha'ozor Yeshuati lechaneh l'shabeach, tikon beit tefilati v'sham toda nizabeach, v'yeh David moteach v'tzoram ba'beach, hazekmor v'shir mizmor Hanukkah hamizbeach, hazekmor v'shir mizmor Hanukkah hamizbeach. Rock of ages, let our song praise your saving power. You amid the raging foes was our sheltering tower. Glorious Theos held us, but by none availed us. And the word broke their sword when our own strength failed us. And the word broke their sword when our own strength failed us.
Menorah.